And I just kind of share with you an image from my teacher. Right? My teacher died a couple hundred years ago, and I've just kind of heard that people with teachers who are alive have difficult issues. So I kind of chose a teacher who had died a couple hundred years ago. It just seemed easier.
Was he 900 years old when he died? Because you guys got that one.
900. That's the Lao Tzu. That's the Lao Tzu.
Oh,
He
right,
wasn't. But he was related to Lao Tzu.
Okay.
And so he died a couple hundred years ago, and his name was Menachem Mendel of Kutsk.
Yeah.
He was the Rebbe of Kutsk. It's a great book by Heschel called Passion for Truth, on Kutsk and Kierkegaard. And the Kutsker Rebbe, on Rosh Hashanah, on this kind of day, right, there's a song which is Malka Kadisha, right, the Holy King. And so he's kind of in this deep kind of ecstasy. And in the middle of this ecstasy, he screams out, Leit Malka, Leit Kadisha. There's no holy, there's no king. Leit Din, Leit Dayan. There's no judge, there's no judgment. In one version of the story, he then blows out the candles, which is a violation of the nomos of the law. Then he disappears into his room, and he spends the next 20 years in seclusion, refusing to take visitors, and because of that incident, becomes the most important spiritual teacher right in that area of Europe, and redefines kind of inner Jewish spiritual practice. What happened? Right? What happened? Right, what happened? So here's what happened. You see, on Rosh Hashanah, and every system has their moment like this. It's not a Jewish moment. This is an archetype for every system. We say, when we start the services, we say, HaMelech, the king. It's kind of, we chant it. HaMelech, Hayoshev, Al Kisei Ram, Al Kisei Ram, Al Kisei Ram, V'nisa HaMelech, God is king. As the Kabbalists say, God's king? That's an affirmation? That's you read it as a mythic membership reading. That's not an affirmation that God's king. It's something else. How do I know it's not an affirmation that God's king? I read the Bible. Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 9. In the future, God will be king. So God's not king now. So why are you saying God's king? So the way they read it is, this is the Shekhinah talking. This is the feminine goddess divine saying, HaMelech, let me be the queen. Let me be the king. Let me be present in the world. And I'm not. And I'm crying. And I'm in tears. And I need you to free me from my chains. And all the Kabbalists in the 17th and 18th century said, HaMelech means the verse in Song of Songs which says, the king bound in chains. And the whole point of the holiday then becomes to free the crying king from her chains and let spirit, right, be in world. Do you hear the shift? Right, we're not affirming that God's king, and therefore everything that God does is good, and that therefore we sinned, and that therefore we're saying God, spirit, wants to be king. And spirit turns to us and says, please, I desperately implore you, let me be present. But if you don't let me be present, then I'm not present. And so we need a partnership.